just setting up some drums right now. um, Before I start this little drum tutorial. Basically, it's just using drums in FL Studio. Um, Nothing major, but I just want to set up some drums real quick in here. Let's see, basic stuff, some kick snares, nothing crazy. Let's see here. Another snare here. Another snare here. Get rid of all these stock sounds. I don't want any of these stock sounds here. Get rid of all that. 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 Quick class here. Now, hold on. Now I just gotta program this. Map notes to entire bank. No, that's not what I wanted. Alright, these are empty anyway, so it doesn't matter. Save preset. Just give it a quick name and then save note layouts. Let's just give it a name. All right, so we got that. All right, get that out of the way. Where is Mr. Ambush at? Where is Mr. Ambush at? Where is Mr. Ambush at? Where is Mr. Ambush? There he is. 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 I couldn't figure out what was easy. I know you were trying to do the Snapchat thing, but then I'm basically listening through my headphones. So the only other option would have been either to go live or to just share my screen on Discord. I don't know if you want to try that, and then we just talk through Discord. So that way we could discuss in real time. Because I know with the stream, there's probably like YouTube puts like a quick 5-second delay on it, or like a 2-second delay. So that may not be the best approach. So I'm thinking maybe Discord, and then we get on a call there. That might actually work better. Because I know through Discord, I should be able to share my desktop. Let's see. Let's get that. Let me try that actually. to open up Discord. So I'm on Discord. Go to my channel. Let me figure this out in real time. Settings, voice and video. Voice and video. Okay, I'm there. Select the preferred input device. Yep, I got all that. My mic. Yep, I got all that. Yeah, no, I'm gonna help you with that. That's what I'm gonna go over. Hold on, I'm just figuring out the Discord stuff right now. Join the server chat, start screen sharing. Oh no, let's see. You gotta be in one of these Discords. Where's Locks Discord? Yeah, there you are. I hate Discord. How do I add somebody here? Invite people. Yeah, this ain't working through Discord. So, all right, we'll just have to do it live. What do you want to start with, actually? So you tell me. Like, what do you want to start with? You say you just want to know how to navigate, but anything specific you want to start with? basically, I know you coming from the MPC world. So right now, I was doing those drums on some drum pads on my keyboard, but that is not how I do my drums. I do all my drums in FL Studio in here. So it might look like this. It might look like little ticks for you. So I usually just click this little button up here to change it to the pattern view. And then let's say like this is my kick right here. So I'll click in here, and then it opens this screen. So that's the whole piano basically. And my root note is right here. So I usually draw in my drums, and the reason why I draw them in, sampling, different ways of sampling. The first way is Edison, and Edison is a plugin that comes with FL Studio. You can add it here on any channel. Hold on, let me move myself. So you can add it down here on any channel. So you just pick any slot, doesn't matter, and then you select and you look for Edison. So Edison is just to put audio into it. So just think of it like that. It's just, you know, you put any audio into it. So then from here, if I have a sample, this one for example, I just drag it into Edison. So now there's my sample, and Edison lets you loop the whole thing. So there's the original pitch. If I want to mess with the pitch up or down, it's the little clock right here. You just hit the little clock. It brings you the pitch editor window, and then you have a combination of things. You could do time multiplier or pitch multiplier. So I think this one pitches it up, and then you can even preview it. There you go. So okay. Yeah, I used a piano roll for my drums. I don't hardware do my drums like I said, like I know you coming from the MPC world, so it's all you're literally hitting the drum pads. But the reason why I don't, because I came from the MPC world too. The reason why I stopped using drum pads is because in the piano roll, it lets me change the time sequence in real time. So if I want to do some boom bap drums, so let me just do a quick snare. I'm gonna do a quick snare pattern, and then I'm gonna show you why. So if I go back to my kick, right now, right here, the little magnet basically gives me the time, and almost all beats are quarter time, with the exception of third, and I'm gonna show you what the exception of third is. So in quarter time, now that's quarter time, right? So you see this hit right here before the next loop comes over. This hit right here before the next loop comes over is in quarter time, and just listen to the timing on that. You see that skip? Now, I like to use the piano roll because then if I go back up here to the magnet and change it to third step or third beat, it doesn't matter. They both did the same thing. Now the lines here change for me, so I can do third beat, put it closer, and now I have more of like a quick boom bap type feel. You see how different that sounded than when it was, I'm gonna mute this one, then when it was over here in quarter time. See, it sounded a little slower. It still sounded good, but it sounded slower. So that's why I like the piano roll, because I can just click here, click the magnet, go to third, draw on that third note, and just get that quick boom bap feel. And I also use that to do snare rolls. And the beauty of the piano roll too, and you can probably do this on the MPC, but you got to mess with the velocities. I can mess with the velocities in real time out here by doing this. So the same kick, I can just drag the velocity down here, and now it gives it a more realistic feel. So you barely heard it that time. like you can still feel it even though you could barely hear it, but that's because I dropped the velocity on this one, so they're not all hitting the same. And I could do this. I usually do this a lot with my snare. So let's say I want to do like a quick snare roll, right? So let me see, where am I? I'm in quarters. So if I come here, I'll put these 3 snares right next to each other, but I'll start the first one really low, the second one like mid velocity, and then the third one high, and you'll hear it kind of like almost like a flam. And then I can also do like rollouts. So let's say I do 5 of them, right? And then I just have all the velocity scaling down like this from high to low. So here's the flam, and then here's the rollout. See, like I can just do that so much faster in FL Studio than if I was doing this on the MPC. And this is also why I use the piano roll, because in real time I could change all this. He said houseway. I just showed it. I just drew it in. So I'll just do a quick sequence so you can see like how quickly you could do like a quick boom bap pattern and just give it that real feel, real swing. So I got the flam right here, messing with the velocities. What up, Geller? And then I'll do, let's say I do another one here, and you can put them anywhere. That's the other thing. I mean, you're making the beat, so there's really no rules to like, oh, well, where do I put them? Where they feel right to you, all right? Because that's another question I get from people. It's like, where do they go? Where you feel that you want them. It doesn't matter. Like I could put. I put 2 back here and just change the velocities from low to high. See what I'm saying? And then if I loop it, and the way I loop that is, so I highlight the section I want right here, bar 1 and bar 2. I highlight with the right click on the mouse. I highlight as far as I want, and then I just do Control B, and it literally just doubles my bar without me having to redraw everything. And I can do this as many times as I want. So now for like, let's say for the last 2 bars, I don't want the same pattern from the beginning. So I'll leave this flam here because I like it. And I'll change this one. See, and I'll just add this little one right here. So we're almost gonna make kind of like a drum roll at the end, right? So let me loop the kick too, because I want to hear the kicks. So let me just loop them, bring them here, and now let's do like a snare roll at the end. And then I'll do the same thing with the kick at the end. I'll do like a kick roll, but I'll lower the velocity on both of them, because these 2 kicks bring me back. These 2 kicks bring me back to the beginning, when in the beginning one is hitting full force. So I want my last 2 kicks to kind of not have the same volume, right? So you'll see how that sounds like. And then the way you slowly, how do I highlight? Right click with the mouse. You just right click with the mouse. To highlight up here, you right click with the mouse. To highlight the notes, you hold Control and left click with the mouse. See, and then you get like this square right here. So this is Control and left click. To highlight the section, it's just right click. So. And then we could apply the same trick to hi-hats, right? So let's say we want realistic sounding hi-hats. I don't like this one. Let me find a more realistic hi-hat. Two seconds. I just want to find a better sounding hi-hat. This one's fine. Let's use this one, right? So now I want to make a hi-hat loop, right? But I don't want my hi-hats to sound robotic. And what I mean by that is let me do a new pattern 7. If I take this hi-hat and if I right click and let's just say FL Studio gives me this option, fill each 2 steps. So I just fill every 2 steps. And then let's say I just loop that. So right click, highlight this section, Control B to duplicate, Control B to duplicate, Control B to duplicate. You see, they're all the same velocity down here, right? And they're all evenly spaced out, right? So I'm going to play that. So you probably heard, to get rid of the highlight, you just double click on the bar, anywhere on the bar. So if I highlight this, I can just double click anywhere and it gets rid of the highlight. That's it. So just double click. So we have this hi-hat pattern. It's hitting every 2. You've probably heard it in a billion beats. Nothing fancy, right? But it sounds too robotic to me, right? It sounds like it doesn't sound like hip hop to me. It's hitting at the same exact velocity with the same exact force over and over and over again, right? So what I tend to do, one of the beauties of FL Studio is if you do Alt R, oh, I'm getting this stupid menu over here. You can actually go here, go to the arrow, and then you go to tools, and then you do randomize. It's Alt R is a shortcut, but it's the arrow, tools, randomize. And what randomize does, hold on, because this is not where I wanted. I want levels. Okay, so I uncheck pattern. I don't want pattern because pattern does all this crazy stuff. I uncheck pattern. All we want is levels. Now, the reason why all we want is levels is because we want to mess with the second knob right here, VEL, velocity, how hard each hi-hat hits. And as you turn it up and down, you see what's happening at the bottom. FL Studio is giving it different velocities. The reason why I want that is because, as I said, you don't want your hi-hats to sound robotic ever. And if you do randomize, and let's say you change their velocities and you do it kind of drastic this way, now watch how different this sounds compared to when they were all hitting at the same exact time. See, now it sounds like there's actually a person playing hi-hats versus a machine playing hi-hats. And you can pick individual ones and like you can move these down yourself like this. Just again, you want random. It doesn't matter. Just make them as random as you can. And so that's when you start creating dynamics. And now when you combine that with the drums, see, combined with the drums, now your hi-hats are starting to sound real. The next step is just lower the volume here in the mixer because you don't want your hi-hats to be in the front of your mix. You don't want your hi-hats to be in the back of your mix. So lower the volume till it sounds right. You see, now they kind of tucked in the back. And now they're very dynamic. Which was the same thing we did here with the snare when we were giving the snares different velocities to create those rolls and those flams. Same exact theory. So there's our hi-hats, there's our kicks. So and then just one of the other tricks I personally like to use is I like to add a crash with my kicks. But this one really depends on your sample or your melody. Obviously usually your first kick you want to have like a light crash in the beginning. So I'll add a crash here, lower the volume in the mixer down here. I don't want my crash too loud. So as soon as the beat drops on bar 1, you know, you get that dramatic effect. And then you can do it again later. And then probably the biggest trick with crashes is don't put them all on the same note here. Mess with them, higher notes, lower notes. You know, imagine if you've ever seen a live player play drums, or if you play drums yourself, you know you have different cymbals and crashes, right? They don't all sound the same. So, you know, so over here, you know, I could put this one higher. Yeah, open hat, same thing. It's the same theory with open hats. So, let's see. Let's find an open hat, as a matter of fact. So we put an open hat here. Same thing. Let's go to the mixer. We don't want our open hat too loud, too in our face. We kind of want it in the back. And mess with left and right too. Left and right panning. That's big. I usually pan my hats. If you pay attention to this hat right here in the mixer, the first hat I did, notice it's naturally a little more right than left. If you look on the mixer volume down here, it's a little more right than left. So then with the open hat, maybe I want to move it to the left side, you know, give it a different dynamic. So let me pick one of these samples. Let's see which one of these sounds good with. Where's my open hat? I lost my open hat. Oh, right here. Gella, that's what I do. I help people. Now, yeah, I always use a combination of regular hat crash, and open hat. I use open hat maybe 50% of the time, but I use the combination of the three, because that's how you build all your dynamics. It's all percussion. Because once you have your sample chopped or looped or whatever you do, it's the whole beat is just the percussion changes. It's all kick, drum, snare, hi-hat, crash. Like, that's the whole beat. The main sample in hip-hop doesn't really tend to change much. Most of hip-hop is just, it's a 4-bar loop over and over and over, and it's just the drums that kind of make or break it. Because, for example, if I do this, right, let's say I take this and I loop it, and let's say, you know, you're going through a verse, and then halfway through the verse, I'm gonna cut these drums out. And let me see, where's my sample at? Is my sample playing anywhere? Let me put my sample on the one. So if I add a filter, and now this is getting into a little more advanced stuff, but let's say I want to add a filter, right, to like give it that muffle effect, which is basically just cutting the highs of the sound, right? So I shape it, high cut. So if I do this, let's say in the middle of the first verse, I want to change the feel of the beat. Very simple. Like, you don't even have to do much, right? You just add a filter like this, let's say. I'll automate it, but I'll go back and I'll show you how I automate that. So I'll add this automation right here. So this little square is the filter automation. It's going to kick in right here only in this little square. And I took the drums out. So now, 8 bars into the verse, you want to create a different dynamic feel. You want, let's say you want that the rapper to kind of stand out, the beat is behind them. All I got to do is get rid of the percussion. I don't need to reprogram anything new, right? So right here, see, it's just hi-hats. Creates a whole different feel. Then bring them back. See? So that's why percussion is so important, because a lot of times when you're listening to a beat, you don't even realize that feel, that change, that hypes you up, is they probably just got rid of a sound, or they just added one sound. They're not doing anything intricate. It just sounds intricate because you're not expecting the change. It's the same thing if I add like a drum roll in there, to make it really dramatic. So I'll do it like this. I'm actually gonna take a piece from another drum that I know has a roll in it. So here, so what I'm gonna do now is basically like sample chopping, right? So let's say, I think the Lavish Life has a nice roll at the end. It does, right? So I'm gonna chop the end of this, because I want this. I want just this drum roll right here, right? And this drum roll is gonna bring me into this breakdown. So then we do this, right? Put this in my mixer, give it the right volume. See, and then that just brings me back. See, you see that crash that hit? That's why I like to add those crashes in there. It's just to add that little dramatic effect when I do those beat changes. So, and all I did there was just take the drums out. And all I left was the hi-hats. I took the drums out, I filtered the sample, and I created a dramatic effect. Let's see, bring this down. And actually, we can add a crash right here, just to make it more dramatic. Yeah, percussion, hi-hats, snares, that's 90% of the beat, honestly. The sample, the melody, the main melody is just always gonna kind of be there. So, and then the next obvious step is the bass, and I do basses a very specific way, which I think is the easiest way in FL Studio. Like, you can't get it wrong. So, like, let's say you're trying to figure out, all right, like, you play bass guitar, I think you told me. But for somebody who either doesn't play bass guitar, or you're trying to do this in FL Studio, and you're like, all right, well, how do I know what note, what key this sample is in, or how can I follow it if it, if the melody's changing? So this is where I isolate the sample, I record it into Edison. Where's my Edison? So I record my own loop into Edison, right? So I'm gonna record, I know it just loops over and over, so I just want to do like the first two loops, right? I open Edison in the same channel where my sample is playing, right? So right here I'm in insert 1. So I want to put Edison in insert 1. I hit record, and then I just play the beat. Just isolate the sample, but play the beat. And you see it recording into Edison, right? So we're just gonna catch the loop. Stop right there. So now here's my sample. It's all pitched and whatever. There's obviously some space here in the beginning. I don't want that. So what I do in Edison has this little thing right here where it trims the any space in the beginning and any space in the end. It's this little, like, the side symbol, almost looks like a little field goal thing. You just click that once, trims the space front and back. That's number 1. Number 2, go back up here to your channel rack. You're gonna insert a new sampler track. Why a sampler track? Because it's just an empty track with no sound. You see, there's nothing in it. Like, there's no kick, there's nothing. That's why it says drop sample here. So Now, what's the sample we're going to drop in there? Well, in the channel track, make sure sampler is selected, and you can tell because it has a little green light next to it. Open the Edison that you just recorded your sample in. Right click. You go to Tools, and then you're going to see Convert to Score and Dump to Piano Roll. When I hit that, it's going to send it to the sampler I had it selected. And this is literally the melody that's playing. These are all the keys in the sample that are playing. Now, why is this important to us? It's important to us because we want to get this into 1 octave as close as we can. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, like I'm going to highlight this bottom portion. Again, to highlight, you hold Control on your keyboard and you left mouse click. And you can highlight as much as you want, but I'm only going to highlight this bottom. And then I'm going to hit Control and up arrow on my keyboard. You see, and it's going to move it a full octave. So it's in the same key, but just 1 octave up. You see, but now they're closer together. Like I was saying, I want them as close in 1 octave as I can. So now we see we have this octave here and this octave here. So that means that this bottom line here can also go up and be closer. So I'm going to highlight this bottom line. Same thing again, Control, up arrow on the keyboard. So now I got these as close as I can get them in 1 octave. And the trick to that is now this is going to be, this is my melody pattern. So now when I go to add my sub or my bass, I know exactly where they go. So I'm going to go grab a sub. Just put it here in a new channel. I just drag it over, right? Put it in the mixer by hitting the arrow, route to free mixer track. It automatically puts it down here for me, right? And then all I have to do at this point is open that sub track right here in the channel rack, and look, and I can literally just click them in. Now these might be too high, right? So if they're too high, you see that they sound high like this, that means you want to go an octave lower. Go back here, highlight the whole thing, and bring them all down 1 octave. Control down, Control arrow down. And then in the 808, I know, okay, well, here's my first note because I'm following the pattern right here. Here's my first note. So now, and then, but sometimes you got to listen though. You got to listen because that first note, you see there's one here, but then there's this one here. So the first note might actually be this one. You see? And then the second note is up here. Same thing. So there's like a little skip here, but I can bring this one up just to create like that pitch bend. And then I could almost loop this like I did before. Highlight, Control B. So, and that's a basic pattern, right? And in order, and then you saw at the end, right, when it hit there, it just kept sounding off. You see, we don't want that. Now, the way we control that is, so we highlight this whole thing here, the whole thing we program, right, from beginning to end, left to right. We highlight the whole thing up top with the right click. Remember, so right click to highlight, and then we do Alt L. So Alt on the keyboard, hold Alt, and then hit the letter L. Now what that does is it does articulation. We want to extend every note to hit as long as each other. That's step 1. Step 2, open up the 808 sound here in the channel rack on the left side. Over here. You go into the articulation, which is the second tab here. It looks like the little velocity meter here. And then I like to draw kind of like this half boot looking thing. I don't even know how to describe it. This shape. And the way I do this shape is you basically just take the second one and you bring it down until that you see that first slant is completely straight. Because that basically what I'm saying is, hey, I want my note to start at the beginning, the left side. And then this is how long you want the note to go. That's why you notice it's like the angle one. And this is the one you got to play with, because this is where it comes down to how long you want the note to play, right? So let's just try that angle. And then we take this note, the last two, and we bring them all the way down. We want to zero them out. So then you get kind of like this little slanted boot looking thing. And so what that does is I can now control how long each note hits before it fades out. So I'll show you if I shorten this, if I shorten both of these are gonna fade out quick when they play. Watch. See how quick they fade? Now, I may not want that. I may want all the notes to play. Cut the length. There you go. See, yeah, exactly. I didn't take the words right out of my mouth. Maybe I want them to go as long as each other. And they're always going to cut each other off anyways, right? So it doesn't matter how long I make this, because as soon as you mess with the envelope, they're always going to cut each other. So, but I want them to hit longer. See how they're not playing over each other? As soon as the next note comes in, it cuts the last note. See? So now when it all plays with the beat, now everything just kind of blends together. So perfect 808s right there. So that's how I do my 808s in FL Studio, and that's how I damn near get them perfect every single time, because I know exactly which notes I need to follow, and FL Studio just allows me to mess with the envelope to cut them precisely. Hey, to go for it. That's my point. I'm trying to teach you as much as I can. And then it just comes down to the combination of whatever I teach you, and then you just start messing and start creating your own, like your sound, your producer sound, right? And hell, you might figure out how to do something that I haven't figured out, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know everything about FL Studio. I use what benefits my style. Now, over time, every few months, I turn to learn new things about FL Studio that I'm like, oh, I could have been using this. This will actually help me more. But messing with all these envelopes and stuff, like, I know the NPCs have this, like, of course they do, but it's not as easily accessible the way it is in FL Studio. Because in FL Studio, like, I have my mouse and I can just click and go. With the NPC, you got to be going into each sound setting and messing with the envelope and testing, and it's just like, it's too much like side work, and it distracted me. And then after a while, I realized I'm like, I just need a smoother workflow, you know? And once I went digital, I realized I'm like, yeah, I can't go back. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't go back. And I still get the same swing. I still get the same feel. I can still create that MPC feel in here. You know, like, I have beats that, people have straight up asked me, like, oh, what MPC did you make that on? And I'm like, I haven't used an MPC in years, Like, let me see. There was a beat actually I was just working on yesterday. Yep, accept that. I'm just trying to go through my page right now to find one of these beats. Search, where's search? Let me see a save on one of them. Let me see. What do I have in here that? Hold on. Let me save this. Yeah, man. I mean, FL Studio's been around for a while, and I remember when FL Studio used to be like clowned at. Everybody used to be like, "Oh, Fruity Loops. You use Fruity Loops. Use Fruity Loops." And little did I know, man, when people were clowning Fruity Loops, I didn't know anything about it. Those were around the days when I was on the MPC, and little did I know that I should have just started with Fruity Loops and not even bothered with the MPC, because it's not that I didn't learn. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing the MPC, but I could have just been so much more productive so much sooner if I would have just started with FL Studio. But I learned a lot. I learned how to sample and how to chop on the MPC. So, I mean, I owe it that, to be honest. I didn't learn how to sample and chop on here. I learned how to sample and chop on an MPC, which to me was harder because you're doing everything manually. So, and you got your timings just have to be better and all that. But, let me see. Where's my open? Let me open some of the latest stuff I've been working on. Let me see. I think I was working on this today, as a matter of fact. See if it opens. No, this was yesterday. Yesterday, 410? Yeah, yesterday. I don't even know what day it is. Everybody used to clown it, bro. Everyone used to clown it. I remember. I used to walk into Guitar Center every time I was looking for stuff, for cables or whatever. And God forbid somebody should walk in there and ask about Fruity Loops, man. They would get clowned by everybody. Like, it was embarrassing, but those dudes who stuck to it, you know, they're probably FL Studio masters right now. You know, if they stuck to it. So this was a beat I was working on yesterday. And then I slowly brought in the hi-hats. And then there's a drum roll. 84. Drop right here. 84. Brought it back. You see, so this is what I'm saying. So like, you mean this here, the mixer? Are you talking about the mixer down here, or? So everything you need, if you're talking about the mixer, just go up here to view, and I usually have playlist. Yeah, so view, and then mixer. So I usually have mixer, channel rack, playlist, and browser. Those are usually my 4 that I have open. So I usually have this, and then my left side browser, which is where all my sounds are. I usually have these 4 windows up all the time. So that's why, like, you see, if I click the mixer, it comes in front. But if I click the arranger here, this jumps in front. I always have these 4 open right here. Like, this is my workflow always. So my sound library on the left, my active sounds that I'm using for this beat, the beat structure right here, and then obviously the mixer for all these sounds right here. So that's everything. So yeah, so view, and then you can just click it on or off right here. So see right there, you click it off, click it on. I got so many unfinished beats here. That's probably gonna be what everything I work on this week. This is like some 50 joint I got. And don't worry if you don't get everything I went over like today. The thing I tell everybody, a lot of this is repetition, and just sit down and practice. Sit down and create drums. Don't be afraid of them sounding bad. That's the point. The point is you create, sit back, play it, loop it for 10, 20 seconds. Tell yourself, okay, the snare is hitting too fast, the snare is hitting too slow. Tweak it. No. So to get an instrument into the mixer, so let's say I want this sound right here into the mixer from up here from my channel rack. You see this arrow right here on the top left? This arrow on the top left, and then right here you see route to free mixer track. That automatically puts it in the mixer for you. So as soon as I click this, it's just gonna pop up down here in its own channel. So click a sound, click the arrow on the top left, and then click on route to free mixer track. And it even gives you a shortcut, Control L. But I mean, I just do it like this. I just click up here, route to free mixer track, and then it automatically appears on the mixer. And remember, if you right click right on the name, there's a rename option right here. So you can start naming them. You know, kick, snare, hi-hat 1, hi-hat 2, melody, sample. Because the sounds, you know, they all have like weird names. Like this is called Maybach drums, 78 BPM, but that may not mean much. You know, you right click on it and just rename it to what you can easily identify. So as you're mixing, you know exactly, oh, this is my snare, this is my open hat, this is my crash. So just rename them whatever you want. How you could even color them. That's the beauty of FL Studio. I usually tend to do like my bass sounds red, and then I tend to do my melodies yellow. Now obviously the color doesn't matter. That's just bonus stuff that I do. But the naming them matters, because you'll start to notice, like, as you go through the sound kits, a lot of stuff just has like random weird names, which doesn't make sense. So like a kick may not even be called kick. So, but yeah, that's you know, you mentioned saving it. It's like that's another reason why I like to do these as live streams, because I keep these up on my channel, so that way you can always just go back and look at them as many times as you want. Obviously between asking me questions, asking me for help, but I like to live stream all of these, so view them 100 times if you want. You know, anybody else can come in, look, learn whatever they can get out of it. But yeah, that's it. I mean, we'll leave it there for today. I don't want to overdo it, because trust me, I got a bunch of information I could throw at you, but I just want you to start with the basics, just learning how to put things in a mixer, learning about the timings, you know, just little things like that. Highlighting. Remember, to highlight a section, right click on the top bar. To highlight notes, you hold Control, and then you get the highlight square. So things like that. And remember, play with the velocities down here at the bottom when you're messing with your snares and your hi-hats, because that's how you create realistic feels. You know, don't just have everything hitting high. Like the only sounds that I always have hitting high are my kicks. I always want my kicks maxed out, because, you know, the kick is pivotal to hip hop. You want your kick hitting as hard as you possibly can. So my kicks are always maxed out velocity. But all the other sounds, like, see, like, look, if you look down here, you see all these are like my snare rolls, they're different velocities, you know, things like that. But my kicks, all my kicks are maxed out always. I want my kick to always hit as hard as possible. Um, but we'll end there. Next time, we'll do like a quick summary of this to start the next lesson, and then we'll start getting into like automation, which again, super simple in FL Studio. And the automation is important because that's when you want to start like, you want to be able to like mute sounds without like chopping stuff out. You want to be able to add like those high pass, low pass filters in real time without like reprogramming things. Um Again, in FL Studio, super simple. It's all like right click, do this, right click, do that. And I'll show you all that, but we'll save that for a separate lesson, automation. Because you can literally automate everything in FL Studio. You can automate volume, you can automate effects, you can automate muting sounds in and out. You can automate anything you could think of in FL Studio. Like, look, every single one of these buttons can damn near be automated. So that's why, like, I want to make that its own lesson. So, I hope what we did today helps. If you forget something, don't worry. Like I said, like we'll start every lesson with like a summary of what we went over before. So don't worry about it. And obviously, you know, just shoot me questions as you get them. So no worries about that either. But like I said, this stream will stay on my channel. View it, download it. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. As long as it helps you, I'm good. So I hope this was helpful. And if it wasn't, let me know. Just don't be afraid to say, hey, I want you to talk about this next time. You know, if you think of stuff, let me know, because you know, I don't know what you want to learn specifically. So yeah, no, I got you. So Gellert, that's in the chat. Yo, that's my super producer partner, by the way. So, you know, me and Gellert, we go way back. But yeah, man, whatever you want to know. What if I can show it to you, I will. Obviously, if there's something I don't know, I'm gonna tell you I don't know. But whatever I can show you, I got you. And yeah, we just go from there. We'll take it one lesson at a time. And that's it. That's all I got for today. So I'm sorry this took a whole week after we spoke, but you know, stuff comes up, kids, family, the weather's nice, and more stuff comes up. And you see me in the streams, you know, chatting with people, and that's like me on my phone between things. Yeah, definitely. Let me know. Don't hesitate to tell me like if anything that comes up, that I don't mention. So, but I ambush. Yeah, not Gella. Come on, man. Oh, that's no question. You know where to find me. And till next time.